I'm so excited for today's episode because we are going to talk about a problem that I have experienced for years in working with children with autism. And in this mess, the good news is that I have a message. I have 3 strategies to share with you today that are going to get you out of the rut of being stuck in cause effect sensory toys. When I'm talking about cause effect sensory toys, I'm talking about the Melissa and Doug puzzles that make sounds. I'm talking about the letters and number puzzles. I'm talking about the shape sorters that make the sounds. I'm talking about being stuck in the trains and going back and forth on the track. I'm talking about getting in a rut in which you're stuck in this limited number of highest interest cause effect toys. And when you try to step out of the cause effect sensory toys and you want to challenge the child to try new things or to take play to a more complex level, the child resists. So the two of you are stuck in this rut and you're doing the same old every single day. Now, the problem with that and doing the same old every single day is you don't have diversity. And diversity is the spice of neuronal life. When the brain and the body experiences something different, it creates neuronal connections. That's how growth occurs. It's really important that we have variety of experiences for our kiddos to experience. What I want to share with you today is 3 strategies that you can put into practice right now in your practice so that you can improve the diversity of play experiences for the children that you work with. Now, specifically, what I'm interested in is children who are at the cause effect level, that we can move to the next level, which is goal-oriented behaviors. That's when the child has a task and the child moves the body in a complex manner to accomplish that task. Now, this is engaging in goal-oriented behavior. The hallmark area of difficulty for children with autism. The problem is that not enough interventions address that. Task-oriented movement therapy activities, which is what we use in my SIS membership or what you see in my speech sound disorder book, that is going to improve upon that area. Now, what many people do is they go from the cause effect toys and they want to jump into pretend play, complex pretend play. However, the child has not developed that big step in the middle, which is goal-oriented activity. So we need to get into that goal-oriented activity step, and that's going to be the bridge that gets us into more complex forms of pretend play so that children are able to engage with their peers in more forms of play. Let's talk about that today. I'm going to leave you with 3 strategies you can put into practice this week to encourage diversity in play. Now, before I begin, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to let you know theoretically where I come from. I always say that I'm an all of the above therapist. There's many different evidence-based approaches that I incorporate in treating children with autism because they need multifaceted levels of support that capitalize on their strengths. I'm going to give you an example. Outside of the field of speech pathology, perhaps the most influential book that I've read is The Child with Special Needs by Dr. Stan Greenspan and Serena Wider. Now, this book is pivotal in its explanation of not just following the children's lead. Now, many people look at floor time and they say, what you do is you follow the child's lead. And yes, you follow the child's lead. Of course you do. But then there's that +1. There's that Vygotskian, I'm going to bridge you in to that next level in which we add an idea, in which we add an activity. I'm going to introduce you to something new, and I'm going to support along the way. Now, that is what we're doing. We're doing follow the child's lead +1 plus an idea, plus a concept, plus an activity. We're going to provide that support and open those doors for them. Now, I tell you this because I've learned from my failures, because as a beginning speech pathologist, I was like, just follow the child's lead. And this is what I did. And there's nothing wrong with this in building relationships. This is powerful to do. However, there's another step. And that's what we're going to talk about today, in which you're introducing a new concept into their play. But what I would do in the past is I would imitate the child's movements in close proximity. I would use linguistic mapping. I would map out all of the actions they did using parentese, exaggerated speech, using a lot of visuals. However, I did not insert myself and I did not bring new ideas and concepts to the play. I didn't add that plus one scaffold, that Vygotskian piece. And as a result, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened because I want you to learn from my failures. I want you to learn from my mess that there is a message. And I want you to go ahead and just take that message and run with it. You don't have to fail like I did. The good news is that my 20 years of experience, you can take that and run with it and go from there. But what I'm going to tell you what happened is we would have this small number of activities that were the child's highest rewarding activities that the child was comfortable with, and the child would not step out of them. And I was stuck in them too. It's almost like a child that's a selective eater. They would kind of get sick of them too, and it would go lower and lower and lower in the number of activities that they wish to engage in. They had almost like they would see in behaviorism, like this saturation of a rewarding activity in which they're like, I'm sick of it. I've had it too much. I don't want it anymore. That's how I feel right now about my Brussels sprouts and sardines. I used to have them for lunch every day because they're super healthy. I'm just like, I can't anymore. I'm so sick of it. I've had it too much. I've jagged it, as they say in the field of selective eating. Well, what would happen with these children that I had their bins of their favorite activities and I would follow their lead, which is a wonderful thing to do, but I wouldn't add that plus one, is they would get sick of their activities. Those 5 favorite activities would turn into 4, would turn into 3, would turn into 2, turn into 1. Now we need to keep in mind that diversity is the spice of neuronal life. And the research indicates that children that engage in a larger variety of activities are going to have better outcomes in elementary age. Diversity matters, and we're going in the wrong direction because the children were getting sick of doing the same activities over and over again. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to learn from my failures and take it up a level and run with it. These are 3 strategies that I'm going to share with you so that this doesn't happen to you. You have these 5 favorite activities that turns to 4, that turns to 3, that turns to 2, turns to 1, and the child is not growing. Instead, the child is regressing. Number 1, include the child's interest in the play. It's kind of like selective eaters. What do? You take what the child loves and you pair that with a new food so that the child's willing to try the new food. When it comes to play, for instance, I had a child that loves Thomas trains that I worked with. What I did this week is there was a playground, and there was a playground poster in my SIS membership that's hanging on the wall. And what the children would do is they would climb up the slide, go down the slide, and then they would stick a piece of equipment on Velcro coins and Velcro it onto the playground poster. We had about 8 different things: a merry-go-round, a swing set, a teeter-totter, climbing wall that we need to put on the playground. Now, this child didn't like that activity. This child liked Thomas the Trains. And if it was the old Kelly, she would be playing with the Thomas the Trains every single session, following the child's lead. I don't have an agenda. And the child would eventually get sick of Thomas the Trains and sick of you and the same old, same old. But the new Kelly that you're going to hear today, I took the Thomas the Train and I took the sticker and we went up the slide. We rolled the Thomas the Train down the slide. The child rolled down the slide and the child stuck the teeter-totter sticker, which is at the bottom of the slide, on the poster. Then we went and we got another train. We got the Percy train. And the same thing, we go up the slide, we slide the Percy train down, the child slides down, then the child goes and puts the sticker and they stick it on the playground. Why was this so effective? We got out of the trains, the child's comfort zone. And what we did is we paired the train with something different, just like you pair the favorite food with a new food so that the child's willing to try the new food. We paired it. There's a couple things going on here. We have this highly enjoyable activity, which is going up the slide and going down the slide. We also have this enjoyable activity, which the SIS member capitalizes on, in visual scanning. We know that children with autism tend to have strong visual scanning skills, which is why they're so good with puzzles, why letters, numbers, shapes, colors. This is something that is oftentimes a strength for them. We want to capitalize on those skills. The poster has the picture of the teeter-totter that the child matches the Velcro sticker of the teeter-totter onto. So we're capitalizing on the child's strengths. It's an engaging, fun activity. And we're putting a little bit of Thomas the Train's action. We're adding that to the mix, spice it up a little bit. So that is one way we can get the child to try a new activity, just like they're trying a new food, is we're going to pair it with a favorite activity. We're also going to capitalize on their strengths. A second way you can move away from the cause-effect rut in which you're only using the child's very highest rewarding activities again and again and again and again. And that is you can create distance. So if we're thinking, for instance, this child loves the Melissa and Doug sound making puzzle. It's so fun. It makes the farm animal sounds. It makes the vehicle sounds. What we could do is we could take, for instance, because it's play this week as our theme, we could take the puzzle pieces and we could go ahead and put those in a feelie box. And then we can take the puzzle and put it on the other side of that slide. The child pulls out the puzzle piece, and there's the airplane. They're going to go up the slide. They're going to go down the slide. Then they're going to go and stick the plane in the puzzle piece. And he goes, shh, shoo. They're really realistic, the sounds are. They're going to come back to the table, pick out another puzzle piece from the feelie box, go up the slide, down the slide. At the bottom of the slide is the puzzle for them to put in the piece. Once again, what we're doing this time is we're creating distance. And when the child is engaging in goal-oriented, complex movement behaviors, they're going through this obstacle course. They're going across independently 5, 6 feet to get that piece in instead of simply just sitting at the table and only using a part of their body. They're not using their whole body and coordinating their whole body within the environment. That's another way, number 2, that you can get out of the cause-effect rut. Go ahead and put a little bit of an obstacle between the shape sorter and the shape, the letter and the letter puzzle, the number puzzle. Have the child complexly move their body in space and attempt to accomplish a goal. Strategy number 3 is we're going to intersperse the new activity with the loved activity. For instance, this child might love the piggy bank and putting a coin inside of the piggy bank. This might be the child's favorite activity. What can we do with that? What we can do with that is the child can put the coin in the piggy bank. Okay, great. And then next, the child is going to go ahead and put a piece of equipment on the poster right on their desk, just like a folder task. And I can just make it like it's cost. Okay, it's going to cost $3. Boop. And I can give them the merry-go-round. Here's your money, put it in the bank. And you can't go wrong with the pretend play. A lot of people are like, why are you even making up this concept that they're paying for it and they're getting this playground equipment because they paid for it in the bank? They don't understand what you're saying. They're like, why are you doing all this extra talk? Say in coin, and they want me to do the caveman stuff. That's not at all the case. What happens if someone comes in and they want me to sign an IEP or something like that? The child would look, the child would be like, we got to pay for it first. They're paying attention the whole time. When they're going through an obstacle course and I'm pretending that there's sharks and alligators that are going to get them, people are like, you're just talking. They don't understand what you're saying. Yeah. Until someone interrupts me, and then I'm like, "Okay, dang, the shark's gonna get me." Because I couldn't act that out, and they see that imaginary play and how important it is. So don't sell these children short just because they might not be looking at you while they're talking. They might be looking down. They're taking it all in. And then you're really going to see that later on when they start talking and they have this vocabulary that you never taught them, but they've been picking it up all along because you've been telling them about things like, "Oh, you got to pay for the teeter totter. You got to pay for the net. Put the piggy bank in first. Ding, ding, ding." There's that interspersing of here's your favorite activity, connect it in some kind of logical, meaningful way to, oh, all right, now you're going to get the climbing wall. You paid for it. And it's going to make sense to them. These are 3 methods I recommend you trying in order to get out of the cause effect rut. I don't want you, they say it in the area of food selectivity. It's like when things get jagged, and which is like, "Ooh, I've eaten this food so much, I don't like it anymore." The same thing happens with children with autism. They play the same activity again and again and again, and it's saturated. "I don't like this anymore." And then you're going to see their play repertoire regress, and it's going to get smaller and smaller. I've been there, I've done that, learn from my mess, and take this message. And that message is, once again, 1, you're going to include the child's interest in a new activity. You're going to pair it. 2, you're going to create distance in which the child's given a piece of their favorite activity and they have to cross a room. They have to go across an obstacle course in order to put the 2 together. 3, you can intersperse their favorite activity with a new activity. And it's not like a first then, like you have to. First, you have to do this, and then you get this. It's not a reward. You connect it in an imaginary way, such as, okay, first we're going to pay. Now you get your ticket. So think about it not as something you have to do, but something you get to do. And it's just the sequence, just like when you play a game. First, you read the card when you pick up the card about where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do, and then you get to do it. First, you roll the dice and then you count it. And then after that, you move the piece. So it's nothing like first you have to do this and then there's a reward. No, it's a sequence. And if you can create a logical connection, more power to you. These children are picking up on the imaginary play. Trust me, you don't think they are, but the moment you stop with the imaginary part, they're gonna look at you and be like, "Well, hey, what's going on? We got a whole schema here." Don't forget about this whole imagination piece that they're taking in. Maybe they can't conventionally let you know, but they're taking it in. I want you to take all of this information, roll up your sleeves, make the world a better place, one child at a time. Promise you will always be first.